Welcome to Health Stealth Radio, where we move away from the mundane to gather insights from the shadows of enterprise and patient cybersecurity. Yes, we surely believe that traditional themes like endpoint software and zero trust are critical, but given massive advances in AI, remote and wearable device hacking, and data hostage negotiators, there's a much darker side to cybersecurity, and not everyone is quite willing to talk about it in public. Health Stealth Radio will thrive on these topics and encourage fireside spats to debate them. Here's your host, Frank Cutitta.
Good afternoon, good day, wherever you are. My name is Frank Cutitta from Chime. I'm with the Digital Health Insights Group, and this is a broadcast of Health Stealth Radio. I have a great opportunity here. We've been trying to put this interview together for literally 3 months or so. So now I have the opportunity of having Nasibeh, who is wears many hats, but I want to make sure that you give the description at Mayo of what you do. And we're going to talk a little bit about Nasibeh's perceptions of the Vive conference, the work that she's doing. Obviously, we can't have our journalistic credentials without saying AI at least 10 times and things, but I'm looking for other variations of AI that she's observing that might not be as pedestrian as mine. And then we'll talk about some other issues, about some impressions that she has about the show and a recent training session that she went through, a boot camp. So Nasibeh, thank you very much for joining me today.
Having me. I can introduce myself. Yes, I'm wearing several hats, maybe because I was so passionate and curious throughout my life journey. First of all, I'm an assistant professor of medicine in Mayo Clinic. I got this badge because of working with physicians on developing AI solutions. The fun fact, my background is engineering. So I have a PhD in system engineering. The second hat that I'm wearing, which is my daily job, I'm a technical success manager in an accelerate program in Mayo Clinic platform. So I'm mentoring companies who are developing AI solution using Mayo de-identified data. In past job inside Mayo Clinic, I used to develop AI solutions myself. So I was invited to join this journey and mentor companies. On February, I hit a target. We got our number 100.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah. If I was a soccer player, I So I had the pleasure of working with 100 companies so far in less than 3 years. We have unicorns, successful ones. When I have free times, like after works, I have another journey. I advocate for trustworthy AI. I'm a member of Coalition for Health AI. And also I do studies on women's health. That's one of the hardest use cases in AI, and these are the things that I see a lot of.
Women's health, yeah.
Yes, 100%, because it's so hard to mentor companies on women's health because of all the complexity that data offers. And we women, we are complex no matter what.
Yeah.
When it comes to our diseases.
Tell me about you beg the question. Tell me about the contrasting complexities between women's health. I mean, this might be a blinding glimpse of the obvious, but I mean, what is something I would be surprised about?
Women's health, I wish that I could have addressed one of the companies and use cases I went through, but they suffer longer with their chronic diseases. For example, we want to give an example, sudden cardiac death. Unfortunately, the patient found death at home. I work in hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. It's a muscle of heart.
Right.
The wall of the heart gets thickened, and unfortunately, the patient goes through that unfortunate outcome. For women overall, they are not masculine, and they don't have so much muscle. Mm-hmm. These sudden cardiac deaths, the frequency is lower. So if you ask if hypertrophic cardiomyopathy is a women-related or men-related, they would say it's male-dominated. But I wish that I had more time to do more study on this use case and say, we have more reports from men because men, they suffer the pain higher or they reflect more. For women, they are always through different pains throughout their life. They get used to pain. they give birth, breastfeeding, like they got a menstrual cramps. So they get used to pain. So they ignore their chronic pains. They announce it later. And when they go to healthcare, organization, or when they ask for help, comorbidity is cheering. I don't know. So this.
But you never knew it was there because it just doesn't come out.
Is it the premenopause situation? Is it hormonal imbalance? Is it their heart issue? Is it their mental health? Is it their burned out? But for men, usually they like to kind of when they report it, they are very healthy. You can literally recognize sorry, my background is engineering, so they know this is the issue from the engine or this is from the tire.
Right.
But for women, you can't understand.
Yeah.
You see the noise, you hear the noise, you hear the palpation, you see the heart rate, hypertension. Which one it is? You can't let.
So it's interesting you bring this up because I just interviewed a gentleman who is the CEO of a company called Canary Speech. I don't know if you've heard of them, but he has a voice biomarker that goes beyond. And so, he's using this biomarker to identify pain when people wouldn't normally identify it as pain. And the cross-cultural implications, I know that you're interested in this kind of stuff. We're interested because pain varies by culture as well as by sex. So it's sort of interesting. It sounds like what you're saying could be one of the solutions to being able to level the playing field between men and women, no?
Yeah, I'm glad that you're calling out that pain and level of the pain, because for me, before giving birth, I'm a proud mom of a 10-year-old, smart.
God bless you. God bless you.
And he can manipulate me completely. Before giving birth, from 0 to 10, the hardest that I could get was my migraine. Headache. But after giving birth, when they are asking me from 1 to 10,
it's up to 15.
It's like giving birth or 10 like a migraine.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Because I heard that giving birth, that 10 is equivalent to breaking bones.
Yeah.
So how you can measure that? And people are asking they briefly, but for a man, when they have a cold, and I always give this example even for Trustworthy AI, and it's Dr. Berker that is like a kind of fine-tuned for men versus women. Mm-hmm. I always say their 10 is like a cold and a sniffy nose or so. Their 10 for women is giving birth. How measure that and how you can make sure that
interesting.
AI also is trustworthy.
It's fascinating. That's fascinating. So it's all these things come together, and you just say to yourself, well, this is the way that's changing. And he said it wasn't there's an algorithmic part to it, but it's so totally different than why you think it works so well that it's.
I hope so. It's still here. I think newbies in recognizing those.
Yeah.
And I usually attend in Women Health Symposium and research. By the way, recently I won the Best Paper Award.
Oh, really?
Yes.
On the topic?
It's about OLMOP, like a framework that how we can add, and these are how to standardize the data in a way that makes sure that we are capturing every little things in women's health. Still, I haven't patented that, so I cannot talk about that so much. But in that group, I heard something. They are doing some studies on animals, for example. And they noticed that, unfortunately, it's so hard even recognizing those differences. Women and even female animals, they live longer. Mm-hmm. Also, so if we want to prioritize, we need to prioritize medicine. Some are doing okay and they live longer. They're fine. But how much the suffering, deteriorate their life, how much miserable they are. So it sounds like they are built to live long because they are mothers, they are caregivers, they adjust and adapt.
Interesting.
So they're not on fire. They're okay. But should they suffer? Mm-hmm. Should we help them? So it's a lot of
So you had mentioned that in your paper that it seemed to imply, and I don't want to overstep what you said, but that there is missing data about women, that there are indices. Are there indices that get overlooked?
No, it's not. I'm glad that you brought that up because I'm telling my background is industry and I had the pleasure of working in several projects, Boeing projects, Ameren Westinghouse. So healthcare was something that happened to me. And
Me too, by the way. Yeah.
I'm glad that happened because I saw what is the meaning of data in industry and how it's differentiate from health.
Right. Clinical decision support's totally different. Yeah.
For us in industry, when we say missing data, it's missing as a data point. I scanned something, I forgot to scan, it's oversight.
Right.
Healthcare is not oversight. Fortunately or unfortunately, it's a wise decision or it's a calculated decision. I'm giving an example based on my experience. And I learned it pretty late. I had developed an AI solution on Echo based on 25 years of Echo in clinic. I was so proud of myself. I focused on the data. I didn't know the workflow. I felt like I knew everything. When I was in deployment stage, I was sitting in Echo lab and I noticed that sonographer on a spot making some decisions. I said, why you didn't collect those information? And she said, I look at the indication of the physician. So the physician was telling about this genre, for example, have noticed hypertension. His or her suspicion goes to hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, for example. If it is that genre, probably I'm going to skip right chamber of the heart, focus on left because it's a left chamber of the heart disease. And I'm focusing on this one and this one. So it was an intentional decision. And I said, why you are doing that? And he said, and he was right. If you want to do a complete echo, is 100 measurements, 4,000 impressions. The patient need to lie down on the echo, like kind of lab room. And he cannot stay there or she cannot stay there forever. They need to be very subjective.
Right.
And they need to, on the spot, make decision. The time is limited. And they need to kind of focus on, it's like Pareto rule.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that indication helps them. What is the first 20% that they can get 80% of decisions from?
Oh, 80.
Yes.
So 80% out of 20% data?
Yeah, because if they want to
and and you're saying that's a temporal thing. It's related to time, right?
But that single disease.
Yeah.
It's very limited. I was focusing on one heart disease and rare disease. It's a genetic disease. So that was my narrow viewpoints that I got. And I was just like, because it was an aha moment for me. I said, what if it happens for all diseases? What is I don't know. I'm a physician in my sixth infusion after years. And the clinic physicians, they're amazing. Mm-hmm. They are like walking ChatGPTs and AIs. Probably their intuition is right. But what if in a rural health skill that intuition doesn't come?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you go and I'm busy or so. Is it, I don't know, pneumonia? Is it insomnia? Whatever. Yeah. And they might send you to echo, might not. Maybe the person has sudden cardiac death is on their way and you don't understand. And what happens next?
Mm-hmm.
What I would mention, it's like again, chicken situation in healthcare. So the meaning of missing data is very different. So I cannot say it's intentional, but it's inevitable. They need to miss certain data for some other purposes because the time is limited. The patient cannot stay in the bed forever.
So when you come to a conference, taking all this into consideration, when you come to a conference like this, you work for a pedigree healthcare provider worldwide. I mean, internationally known. You're in a really cool area of that. And I know that you have a booth downstairs. I mean, we're watching this evolve over the years, that it's turning into one of the larger exhibitors. What is it that you look for here in just scoping it out? Like, as Monty Python would say, for something that's a little bit different. Are there a little bit different things that you start seeing here that aren't just because the trajectory of AI, as we know, is operating in minutes and not hours, just by the fact that before one presentation is over, another one's coming up with a new innovation to say, okay, you think that was cool. What do you look for here, considering the pedigree and the sophistication of the product that you already have?
So much for asking this question. First of all, the first time I came to the Vive and overall health and startup, it's very fast forward. I do remember I attended other conferences and rarely I have that wow, aha moments. Mainly, I'm joining here. I'm working with a startup. So no matter what, sometimes, I see the ones and how much they progress. For example, I'm giving an example. Last year, everyone was talking about ambient AI and how amazing is ambient AI is, and are they successful or not. Now this year, I see how many of them grow, how many of them are successful. So it's for me, it's like a pulse check.
Yeah.
How much progress they.
Right.
So that's one of them. And that's the only place that I, can really see it, because when they are pitching that, they do their best. So I see the best of the best. I see the tip of the ice. The second things that I'm into that there are different sizes of booths. I'm focusing on Vive because we're in this beautiful conference. So I would say I go for curiosity, like I say science fiction stories to a small group. These are the people my metaphor, analogy is like an 8-year-old. If you ask your kid or like grandchildren or so, and go and draw for me a car.
Yeah.
Man car, these are where I go and
Right.
wow. Okay, what they could have imagined. So maybe it come through, maybe not. Usually 10%, 20% come through. So these are the vibes that I'm getting. These are the hypes that I'm getting.
Yeah.
So the small boots, imagination. It's just
Sure,
like
sure.
behind, whole brains get engaged. Is it true? Is it not? Is it like I always compare that with the era of like getting magicians.
Yeah.
Magicians, and everyone is talking about this, how this works. I know. I go to medium-sized ones to see who was a little bit more successful than others. These are a year, 2 years, or almost 3 years is the shiniest spot ahead of those little ones.
You're talking about founders, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So assume that they are pre-seed or seed stage. These are usually Series A, Series B. They had some fundraising. They had a good fun to effort that little wave that is a little bit larger. I see the success stories. How many of them? And you need to consider this a longitudinal process, and you can see that there is some like how long they can get. So you need to have an history. Okay, last time. What are
Right.
the little booth now, a year after, 2 years after,
Right.
what happens? So I go for them that what can happen or how much technology has improved. So this is our for me, assume I have a list of 10. Then I put some check marks, 2, 3, 4. It sounds like these ones are working. Then I go back to my job and make a platform, accelerators or my mentoring, or volunteer for minorities, mentor them. And I say, hey, I feel like this might work, this might not work. It's a scoring system for me to see which one is risky, which one is not. And I try to put the hat of assistant professor of medicine as well, which one is close to the heart. The patient come first, adjust it. So for me, it's more like a scoring system.
Interesting. So I always bring this up in my interviews. There's the fear of missing out with AI, which everybody is running through right now, whatever stage it's in. I always talk about JOMO instead of FOMO, the joy of missing out. So are you finding in any of the people, the organizations that you work with, especially on the provider side, where they said, I'm really glad I sat back and didn't do this and waited? Are you finding that there's a JOMO aspect to artificial intelligence? Because I'm sensing that there is some from the discussions I heard today that we don't, we slow down. We don't have to do this fast like we did other stuff.
Friends just for half a day.
No, this is the other part of my life. So
yeah. Because yesterday this happened.
Oh, really?
Yes, we were in a focus group. Thank you for trying for hosting those.
Yes.
I really enjoyed joining those, and it was my first time joining those focus groups. And I'm sorry that I didn't know how good they are. These focus groups, they were like mature companies and they want a feedback or like more open discussions. Do you feel like this is my roadmap? You like it? You don't like it? Very, very interesting. I'm not talking on my behalf.
Yeah.
There were many people there. There were providers. They were amazing. And it was after CIO bootcamp that I had the pleasure of graduating from that bootcamp. Thank you so much for support.
Glad you attended. Great. I'm sure you added a lot to the program.
Of course, I enjoyed it much. So these are people that I spent hours with them. So I'm a newbie in this journey. So I really enjoyed hearing their feedback. And I usually I was staying silent till last moment because I wanted to hear and learn what is their view.
Yeah.
They've been in that space for years. And there was a company pretty mature, and the company mentioned, I think there was 4 tractions they mentioned. Should I focus on my shine? Should I go embrace AI journey? Should I focus on compliance, for example, or
There you go.
form
Yeah.
fitting?
Yeah.
Good ones, all of them good. Everyone in the group say stay away from AI for now.
Really?
Yeah, and everyone was telling why. So this is my takeaway from that meeting. I don't want to generalize. It was a very unique use case. It was IT focused. AI has a lot of up and down. That change management, that is it the right time or
Right.
it's like an R&D. You need to have it in backdoor, and you need to have a kind of a backstore, but the software level somewhere that because it can crash, can burn,
Right.
like someone that you want to test it out. Piloting is good, but is this your top strategy before testing in healthcare? It can be very
Yeah.
So everyone was agreeing that you should think of that. Should it be in your long-term plan? Yes. Is this something that you put your KPI on that? Probably not right now because it's on live. We don't know what else. But the top one was, are you in compliance? Are you considering, patient safety?
Right.
And I really enjoyed that because it's aligned very well with trustworthy AI as well. AI is amazing, but I wish that I had a very better analogy, but it's like a nuclear bomb. We still don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
No, a lot of not available there. Still, we don't know how we are going to measure the accuracy of that in a good way. Still, we don't know what if AI can retrain your mind. When you use AI, your brain, and it was a study was done even in schools that your brain can get rewired by AI.
Oh, I would think so. Yeah.
100%.
Well, I mean, look at people addicted to ChatGPT, just like they were addicted to Google.
Tone changes.
Netscape years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So it can add a lot of biases.
All right.
Already, we have core values to stick with that. Do we have those checklists to make sure that we are not shaking our core values? And we are not, if you want to save time, sometimes we use shortcuts. It's like leadership classes.
Yeah.
It's always a shortcut, and there is an ethical way of reaching that. Hardworking. These are our core values. You need to be hardworking. We need to be original. But what if there is a shortcut? Does it work? Yes. Maybe 99 times per 100 works. But that one case that goes wrong can destroy everything, So to answer your question, I feel like they need to embrace AI high. Is it the right time? If they want to make a decision to stay away from that, maybe yes. Depends on their priority. What is your shine of organization? Focus on that one. You should not lose your, your strengths because of something that you are still a little bit unsure or it's not your shine. I'm going to do this. I'm going to embrace this magic without knowing what's going to happen, and I'm losing my opportunity that I already have.
Interesting. So we're running out of our runtime here, but I just 2 questions. It's sort of the same question with 2 parts. Part 1 is, what is one of those terms that you wish could be eliminated from the vocabulary that's a hype term that people use?
Or everything.
Yeah, that AI would obviously be part of it, or some part of AI. And what's the new post-agentic AI word that you're hearing? Like I write a lot of articles. We talk about.
Yeah.
I talk about post-digital because people get comfortable thinking that they're digital. I'm always looking for what's post-digital. I have a tombstone that says digital on it and says digital transformation is dead. Move on. What's the next cool term that you're using? Because agentic AI is becoming AI washing. It's table stakes, right? You can't. I mean, just like a lot of other words. I'm hearing shadow AI is coming out now because people are crazy using all these uncertified products within the provider organizations. So that's sort of a cool, that's still a term that's a little bit cool because people say, wait, shadow. I remember shadow from when I was giving with my marketing department, found an IT person that was shadow IT. What's the post? What's the next red? And there might not be one. I'm not begging an answer, but surely we know that there are buzzwords that we don't want to hear again. But
first of all, I don't think I'm qualified to answer that.
Well, that's okay. I'm unqualified too, so we're both unqualified together.
This is a lot of scientific reading,
Yeah.
Everyone with
That's all right.
a degree of PhD or so, kudos to everyone.
I'm a former junior high school teacher, so for me, everything's elementary.
It doesn't matter. It's coming from your experience.
Yeah.
I like all of them are marathons that goes into. About that, what words I wish that people didn't use about it, mainly focusing on healthcare was I developed a model. It's not, there is no stop at developing a model. I had privilege of developing AI solutions, like in my back journey in cardiovascular department. For healthcare, it's a cycle. You need to retrain, make it better. Right. It's a never-ending cycle. I'm done with development. I trained the model. I'm finished. These are for me, they're the buzzwords. It's a never-ending cycle. You need to say, this is my beta version. Or it's my,
right.
You need to be aware that there is a cycle to healthcare. There is no this
more room, more progress to be made.
Exactly, definitely, it's a cycle, and I'm hoping that majority of the startups are embracing that. When I see there's a platform that say I'm going to sell the final products of AI, it doesn't work. How do you know? This validation is no matter what. So it needs to be constant. They need to stay engaged, all the time. All rare cases need to be reported back. I don't see that cycle yet. So that's something that is missing.
Just so thrilled that I could come in and finally talk to you. And it's just the beginning of other conversations I think we could have as you go through your current career trajectory and anything you're doing in the future. So
much. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today in the shadows for this episode of Health Stealth Radio with Frank Cutitta. If you like the program, please be sure to share your comments on our social media sites, or feel free to contact us with suggestions for new and stealthy show themes. We look forward to welcoming you again for our next broadcast. In the meantime, stay safe out there.